like we were talking about, the macro cues, that's the one that's going to have quite a bit of impact in the trading day. And one of those big data points was the United States CPI number, which is eased to a 2-year low, and that inflation number coming in at 4%. So that definitely is going to be interesting to watch out for, because what has happened is their core inflation that continues to be stubborn at 5.3%, indicating that pricing pressure is not fully eased. But this will also give the Fed some bit of relief, you could say, and also push him in that direction. Whether it's going to be a hawkish stance or a dovish one, that is what one is going to wait out for Chairman Powell's comments. Now, that is going to be interesting and also have an impact on the Indian markets or global markets. We've already seen oil prices that have swayed in this whole time, just 2 days back down 4%, then trying to pare its losses, and it's back now. So let's decipher all of this. Let me bring on board Anil Rego, the founder and CEO at Right Horizon. Thank you so much, Anil, for speaking with us this morning. Let's decipher how these macro cues are really going to turn out for our markets. We've been seeing a good rally, you could say, so some bit of consolidation as well, but everyone's saying it is only upward from here. Is that your feeling as well? Is this all these macro cues really helping even Indian markets?
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the key reasons why sort of we went down and global markets also went down was, the inflation, which triggered off, rate hikes and a very hawkish stance, by all the central banks globally, right? So that was sort of the key driver for it. So yes, I think that factor is definitely easing, and I think a leading indicator for us will be looking at inflation, and inflation has definitely come off. The second part is also to look at yields. Okay, so yields have, the good part is yields, ended up remaining flat, went up and down in smaller ways. But over the year, calendar year, we didn't see any hike, in yields, even though central banks, were aggressive in, beginning part of the first 3 months of the year. So that's a good part. So inflation definitely coming down. I do think everybody is waiting, to see what the Fed does. Will they pause? Yes, I think at least with data coming on inflation and it easing, I think at least warrants a pause. So that's something, and wait and watch and see if something doesn't turn down further, then maybe I think Fed will come back with increases. But at this point of time, I hope and I think that they will also sort of keep it flat. So that coming back to India as well, we are seeing inflation sort of come down. We've seen pause in interest rates. So we have already done it in the short term. So there as well, we don't see any concerns there. So there is a lot of positivity. Yes, I think that hopefully will give a little bit of confidence by FIs as well. And some of the continued movement investments that have come. In fact, suddenly we are seeing a lot of positive reports from the large global institutions, and Morgan Stanley, for example, has spoken of India. The decade is of India. So there is a lot of positivity, both in terms of sentiment, as well as if you look at from a fundamental basis. I think cooling off of interest rates, or at least remaining flat for some time. I don't expect it to go down in a hurry, but at least it is the first phase of a pause before any further set of down happens. So I think broadly things are good. The monsoon is something that we'll all be watching for. Hopefully, it will not be deficient. We're probably it should not be excess as well. So that is something which will impact a little bit. But I think even profit growth had come down to sort of lows. Profitability, profit as a percent to GDP, for example, is numbers that had come to lows, and I think now it will be in a longer term upward curve. So a lot of things I think are working for us, and one believes that this momentum will continue, and we also think that it will continue for a slightly longer period of time.
Right. So the momentum, of course, will continue. Yeah, we are seeing that kind of trajectory, and these macro counters definitely, giving that boost as well. But if you look at the headwinds, what are those possible headwinds that could come? We do have the El Nino, which has, they have declared that it is an El Nino year. So that is going to have a definitely, a different kind of impact when it comes to India and the monsoons here, and how that is going to have a bearing on, be it auto stocks or FMCG, all of that. It is a chain, you could say so. So how should one be cautious about this fact, or it's just something that we'll take in our stride?
Yeah, so definitely one of the things I pointed out was, monsoon, right? So, yes, El Nino is there this year. So we need to see how, it sort of impacts. But at the same time, I think we have become less and less dependent, say, on, agriculture. And if you look at the usage of groundwater and stuff like that has sort of been a lot better. Of course, there's depletion, and that's a longer term issue that one has. But I think in the shorter term, I don't expect such a great impact unless it's a severe condition, right? So I think if it is, at least as we stand today, I'm not seeing any noises around it being a severe condition. But so I believe that unless there's further data to show that the conditions are really deteriorating, I think we can assume that the trajectory will continue.
And Anil, also let me get a word on crude. Now we've seen those prices oscillate between $72 per barrel, now back again to 74. What does this mean for India? Because this is the rise has happened now after China's central bank lowered that short-term lending rate for the first 10 months. So would a rate hike now from the Fed propel crude prices further? Strengthening dollars also something that is worrisome for India.
Yeah, first of all, I think we'll have to see what Fed does, and we don't know what they're going to do. But in terms of crude, yes, it has been relatively volatile, but say with a sort of a softer bias, right? So which has been good. I think $2.70 to 74, etc., doesn't make so much of a difference. I think the issues come when, say, that goes to 90. So those are when the impacts really come. At times, it's good to have, rising crude prices, and because what it means is there's demand coming back, right? And the global economies are doing well. So in that first period, that initial period, you'll actually find that markets and crude prices, both go up together, right? So it's not a negative. Where it impacts is when it crosses certain barriers and inflation goes above a certain level at an overall, then it's when the impacts start. So I'm not seeing that right now. I think first it will be a positive sign if crude is rising on a slow basis, and which also means that the global economy is healthy.
Right. Anil, your last word on what sectors or stocks that people should be looking at, or if somebody is looking to enter the market now, would this be a good time according to you?
Yes, the sectors definitely one thinks that rate sensitives, thanks to the inflation trends, etc., is something that one can look at. You can look at both NBFCs as well as, in fact, right now, probably smaller banks also will do well, PSU banks. So those are sectors which sort of one can look at. We have been bullish on, say, building materials sectors for some time now. Also, some of the consumer areas, I think, will also sort of do well, and that sort of trajectory will sort of continue. For somebody who's entering now, I still think, everybody is saying that, we are at a high. But the context is that, this is almost like 20 months back also we were at the same high, right? So if you look at it the other way, we were where we were. So from that standpoint, in these 20 months, actually, we've seen earnings growth pretty strong, and so in fact, probably markets have come down and are at a discount from where they were, say, almost like 2 years back. So from that standpoint, yes, for somebody to enter, it's a good thing to look at. Maybe be diversified, invest in phases. Don't run after momentum. Try and go into seeing, what is the company doing fundamentally, and then invest.
Right. Well, Anil, we'll have to leave it at that word. Maybe a good time to enter, but check for all of what really works out best for you. Well, with that, thank you so much, Anil Rego, CEO and founder of Right Horizons there. But that seems like we're completely out of time on this edition of Morning Trade. Thanks so much for tuning in.